chaos. It's all chaos. What on earth was this week? I, I, I don't know anymore. I should just start throwing darts, shouldn't I? Why is it not updated the Niners Vikings game? I think it was like 17-22 Vikings. But Giants won against Commanders, but it was 14-7. The Falcons beat the Bucks somehow. The Ravens thrashed the Lions. The Bears beat the Raiders. The Eagles had massive referee help. The Patriots beat the Bills. I don't know anymore. I don't know. It's all just a mess. I went 6-7 this week. I got one early game right, I think. Yeah, I got one. And that was Browns Colts. And even so, they only won by 1 point. Supposedly the best defense in the league. And Gardner Minshew and the Colts offense scored 38 on them. I don't know anymore. I'm just gonna get into week 8. I'm so confused. Buccaneers Bills Thursday night. At this point, I trust Baker Mayfield more than I do the Bills defense. I think this is an upset. The Bills need this, but I think Bucks are gonna win. I don't trust the Bills, and watch them win the one time I don't trust them. Watch them actually win this. No, but I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers. I trust their defense more than I trust the Bills. And I trust Baker Mayfield. I know they lost to the Falcons, but it's a divisional game. It's going to be tougher. I mean, yeah, that you could say the same for Bills Patriots, but it's the Patriots. They're supposed to be worse than like 30 teams here, roughly. They should be in like the bottom 3. And they won against Buffalo. I don't trust the Bills. They nearly lost to the Giants. They lost to the Jags beforehand. I thought the Bills would get back into form with the Patriots, but clearly that's not the case. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks. If the Bills win, I am gonna be so lost. I just don't know. Anyways, the next game is the Jaguars and the Steelers. The Jags have looked good on both offense and defense. I feel like I can trust the Jags now. In the first 3 weeks, not so much. They were 1-2, but they've won 4 in a row. They've got great momentum going. The Steelers, with a bit of referee help, beat the Rams. And this is one of the few times I'm going to thank the referees because, the Rams lost. Their defense is good. Offense, I don't think so much. And I think that's the only weak part out of these two offenses and defenses. So I'm going to pick the Jags. I trust them more than the Steelers. But again, with any of these matchups, I wouldn't be surprised if the other team won, unless I guess if Broncos won, considering Patrick Mahomes is undefeated against Denver. But who knows? I'm picking Jags to go into Pittsburgh and win. And following that is the Patriots at the Dolphins. I know the Dolphins lost to the Eagles by 14 points, and it was with referee help as well. I still think they're a good team. I don't think they're frauds. It's only this is week 8. Still 11 games left. 10 after this. 10 weeks after this. I trust the Dolphins more. Mac Jones just played a brilliant game against the Bills, as far as I am aware. And well, Tua, I think, is undefeated against the Patriots. They've beaten them once this season before. Why can't they do it again? I'm going to go Dolphins. The next game is a game of two teams coming off a bye week. It's the Texans at the Panthers. And I trust the Texans more than the Panthers, but the Panthers need to get a win. I'm gonna pick them to beat the Texans in an upset. They scored 14 against the Dolphins. Like, they had a 14-0 lead. I know they lost 42-21, but still, going up 14-0 is not an easy task, especially against Miami. So I'm gonna pick the Panthers for an upset. Texans could win. CJ Stroud looks really, really good. The offense is decent. Defense is decent. They might need this win more than the Panthers, because Panthers might go for like #1 pick or something. But Panthers need this. They need to win at some point. And if not against the Texans, then they're pretty much just limited to divisional games. I don't know who they're gonna beat, but I reckon it'll be the Texans this week. The next game is the New York Jets at the New York Giants. So it's pretty much a home game for both teams. The Giants still don't look good, although Tyrod Taylor looks better than Daniel Jones. The Jets look decent, even with Zach Wilson. And I didn't think I'd ever say that. I'm going to pick the Jets. They're coming off a bye week. It's pretty much a home game for the Jets as well. The Giants have looked pretty weak. The Jets have looked decent. I think Jets are just the better team at the moment. So I'm gonna pick the Jets. I think their defense is really, really good, and that will be the driving force behind their win, the driving force behind their victory against the Giants. The next game is the Saints at the Colts. This one's a toss-up. This one's one of the ones that I really do not know. I think just marginally, just because I think they have a better defense, I'm picking the Saints. I think Colts have a better offense than the Saints, but just barely. But I think there's a larger margin between the Saints defense and the Colts defense than there is between the Colts offense and the Saints offense. So I think their defense being slightly better is going to be the main factor in this game. They'll need it, and I think they'll get the win because of it. The next game is the Falcons against the Titans. Titans are at home, coming off a bye week. Their defense is pretty good. Ryan Tannehill, not so much. Their defense actually is a little bit worse now because of trading one of their better players to the Eagles. And I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Is Desmond Ridder good? Is he bad? I don't know. But Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts is there as well. Their offense can look good if Desmond Ridder just gets into form. If he can find his form, he can find his footing, he can lead the Falcons to a win against the Titans. And I think he will. I think they'll manage to do that. The next game is the Eagles at the Commanders. This could be a trap game. So the Commanders could win. But I think the Eagles are still better. Despite beating Miami with referee help, I think they're still the better team. Their defense is going to be better with the trade they did for Titans. Sorry. I don't know what Titans got for it. I don't know. It could have been like a bag of crisps for all I know. So they might have just ripped them off. But the Eagles' defense is going to look better. Their offense is already good with DeAndre Swift, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, obviously Jalen Hurts. Their O-line is pretty good. I just trust them over the Commanders a lot more. Although Commanders were the first team to beat them last season, but they've already got their loss now, and it was against the Jets. So I'm going to pick the Eagles. They don't have an undefeated streak to pressure them so much. I'm going to pick the Eagles there. The next game is the Vikings at the Packers. The Vikings beat the Niners. Thank God. And the Packers lost to Broncos. I got one of those right. I said Broncos would win. But I also said Niners would win, and Niners was wrong. Niners have lost 2 in a row now, and we're closing the gap for first in the division. But out of these two, I think the better team is the Vikings. I don't think there's much doubt about that, to be honest. With anyone, I don't think anyone is, even Packers fans are going to say that the Packers are better than Vikings. I mean, I get maybe there are some aspects, but Jordan Addison had a really good game against the Niners, and so did the Vikings O-line, holding them to 0 sacks. Cousins wasn't sacked once. Cousins did really well. Addison did really well. Their defense was pretty good as well. So I'm going to pick the Vikings. I think they're just a better team. But at this point, being a better team does not mean anything. Because anything happens and it's all crazy. But I'm going to say that the Packers lose. And the Vikings win. The next game is the LA Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. With Cowboys coming off a bye week, having a home game as well, the Rams are no pushover. They only lost because of referee help. Again, thank you. But I've always felt like the Cowboys have some sort of plot armor, and they just win. They win games that they shouldn't. Just if like they could be worse than a team, but as long as they have like a slightly better record, they'll win that somehow. I think this is one of those games. I feel like they'll just be able to sneak a win against the Rams. And this is one of the few times I want the Cowboys to win. But yeah, I think Cowboys will beat the Rams. Rams are no, as I said, they're no pushover. They're a good team. But I think Cowboys defense is just really good. Their offense just has to get going. And I think they'll be able to do it. I think they'll be able to do it. The next game is the Browns at the Seahawks. Browns seem to alternate between good games and not so good games, whether they win or lose either of them. And against the Colts, they didn't really have that much of a good game. They only won by 1 point. Their defense, again, supposedly the best defense in the league, allowed 38 points by the Colts. They still managed to win. They had a good game against the Niners beforehand, and this is the week where it needs to be a good game. I'm picking the Browns for an upset over the Seahawks. I think this is an upset over the Seahawks. The Seahawks weren't totally convincing against the Cardinals for me. I mean, they won, but it was only by 10, only 20-10. The red zone offense still isn't quite there. Jake Bobo only just about caught that touchdown. I mean, it was a great catch, don't get me wrong. But if it had just been slightly out of bounds, we would have been in a lot more trouble. So I think the Browns would have been able to stop us there. And I think they'll be able to just shut down the Seahawks offense, especially in the red zone. The next game, Ravens at Cardinals. I've just spoken about the Cardinals doing not terribly against the Seahawks, but the Ravens, they thrashed the Lions 38-6. There was just no mercy, and they were up like 35-0, 28-0, 35-0. 35 unanswered points against the Lions and their supposedly great defense. I mean, it is a great defense. It's one of the best in the league, but the Ravens just figured it out. Don't know how, but they did. And I'm still gonna pick Cardinals. I say still like it's not a big surprise, but I feel like this is one of the games that the Ravens are just gonna fall victim to. They're gonna get trapped, and this is like if I pick Commanders over Eagles. That could be a trap game, but I'm still going Eagles. This I think is going to be a trap game for the Ravens. I'm gonna pick Cardinals to win. I don't know what the driving force will be behind the Cardinals win. I have no idea what it is. But the Ravens are one of the flimsiest teams in the league. So, truly anything can happen. Anything can go right. Anything can go wrong for either of these teams. But I'm going to pick Arizona. The next game is the Bengals, who are coming off a bye week, against the Niners, who lost to the Vikings on Monday night. This is the Niners' last chance before I start not trusting them completely. I want the Bengals to win, which is honestly quite surprising since they beat us by 4 points before they went on their bye week. And that was the game after we had our bye week, so it was pretty much a waste of a bye week because we lost by 4 points and our red zone offense just fell. So it's like we got worse after the bye week, and then the Bengals get a bye week after beating us. But still, I think Bengals are a solid team. I think they're slowly getting back into form again. But teams are learning that if you just cover Jamar Chase, the options are narrowed severely. This is the Niners' last chance. I'm gonna pick the Niners to win, and we'll see what happens. I've got nothing else to say. Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm so lost. Sunday. Oh, right, hang on. No, there's what I've missed. Chiefs Broncos. I've missed Chiefs Broncos. Let's keep this short. It's Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, as I said, is undefeated against the Broncos. And while the Broncos beat the Packers, it's the Packers, you know. They only beat them by 2 points. Wasn't too much of a win, but it was still a win. But I think Chiefs are still the better team. I don't think they'll need referee help for this one, although they'll probably still get it. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Sunday night is the Bears at the Chargers. And the Chargers defense is not doing that much as far as I'm aware. They lost by 14 to the Chiefs. And before that, they lost by 3 points to the Cowboys. The Bears' backup quarterback, which is Tyson something. I don't remember what his surname is. Forgive me. Led the Bears to destroying the Ravens by 18 points. And at this point, while I think the Chargers' offense is the best offense out of these two, and I'd say it's better than their defense or the Bears' defense. I'd say it's the best out of those four. I think Bears have the overall more, I can't believe I'm saying this, trustworthy team. I trust the Bears at this point more than the Chargers. That's a crazy thing to say. Like 3 weeks ago, I would never thought I would have said that, but here we are. I think Bears are going to get an upset over the Chargers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams won except Broncos. And finally, Monday Night Football, we have the Raiders at the Lions. The Lions, after they lost to the Seahawks, kept going. They just kept moving forward. They're like the Dolphins of the NFC. They take a loss, but they don't start building them up like the Bills or even the Niners maybe at this point. They just keep moving forward and they keep getting wins. So this is a game that the Lions need to win, and I'm gonna pick them. The Raiders, they lost to the Bears by 18 points. I don't know what's going on there. Do the Raiders have a good defense? Do they have a bad defense? Do they have a good offense? Do they have a bad offense? I think they've got a relatively decent defense, but the offense needs to just get it together. Davante Adams is obviously decent. Josh Jacobs doing well. Well, Davante Adams is really good. But I don't think it'll be enough against the Lions. I think they'll get back into their form again, just like how the Dolphins need this to get back into form again. And Lions are a dangerous team. They need to keep that level of threat, you know. And they'll be more competitive in this match, and I think that's what will lead them to a win. That's the end of my Week 8 predictions. I hope you enjoyed. I've got no idea who's gonna win. I could get every single one of these wrong, and if I do, that's a record. But that's gonna be the end of it. I'll see you all in Week 9. Goodbye and have a nice day.